Ladies and gentlemen, the American people have spoken, and the message could not be clearer. You see, right now, President Trump's approval ratings are absolutely surging again, and the radical left is absolutely losing it. Now, just yesterday afternoon, a brand new poll revealed that President Trump's national approval ratings have climbed back up to an absolutely historic 54%, marking his highest level of support since stepping back into office. And by the way, that's up from 49% at the end of March. And I'll tell you what, that number is not just impressive, 54%, it's devastating to the Democrats, who are now sitting at a national approval rating of just 21%. Folks, that's not just bad, it's apocalyptic. But you know what? What do you say we break all of this down a little bit further? As things currently stand, amongst American men, 61% now support President Trump. Amongst American women, 47%. And just wait until you hear this. 54% of Americans over the age of 65 support President Trump. 51% of Americans between 50 and 64 support President Trump. And 52% of Americans between 30 and 49 support President Trump. But folks, here's the real kicker. Amongst Americans aged 18 to 29, a whopping 64% support President Trump. Yeah, you heard that correctly. As things currently stand, just about 2/3 of younger Americans stand firmly behind President Trump and the America First agenda. Now, let's be honest here about all of this. This isn't just some blip on the radar. No, this is a generational shift, a political earthquake. The younger generations, long thought to be locked down by progressive ideology, are now rejecting wokeism, rejecting chaos, and instead embracing traditional American strength. And so what this really tells us is that the America First agenda isn't just surviving, no, it's thriving, and it's here to stay. While the progressive left is busy grooming their next identity politics puppet, the MAGA movement is busy building real momentum, and this latest round of approval numbers proves that America has had enough of failed Democrat progressive policies. And if you want proof, like we said a moment ago, right now the Democratic Party's national approval rating is sitting at a devastating 21%. That's not just embarrassing, it's catastrophic. You see, Americans are finally waking up to the truth. They've seen the collapse of our borders under Joe Biden. They've felt the pain of Biden's inflation. They've watched our foreign enemies get emboldened and brazen. And now they're choosing strength. They're choosing American sovereignty. And that's why we all chose President Trump. Under Trump, we're seeing the resurgence of economic nationalism. Tariffs are shielding American workers. And despite the media's panic, the markets are stable and strong. And what's crazy is that they all told us that Trump's tariff strategy would tank the economy. But guess what? The stock market is proving them wrong every single day. Why? Because under President Trump, America prioritizes itself, and the markets realize that. And on top of that, inflation is retreating, energy prices are stabilizing, wages are improving, Trump's economic reforms are reversing the damage done under Biden and years of Democratic leadership, and working class families are feeling the difference where it counts, in their wallets. And you know what? Let's talk about immigration here for a second. Under President Trump's leadership, illegal border crossings have dropped by 99.1%. Yes, 99.1%. That is the lowest this country has ever seen. And by the way, that's not just a talking point. That's not a theory. That's a cold hard fact. That is law and order. That is America First. Remember how Joe Biden and the Democrats spent 6 months talking about this bipartisan border bill that President Trump doesn't want America to pass, and that's the only way to save the border? Yeah, I guess that wasn't actually the case after all. And then, of course, Joe Biden spent years sending billions of dollars to foreign nations while ignoring the American people. But now, under President Trump, those days are over. Foreign aid has been slashed. NATO has been forced to pay up and pay their fair share. And our foreign policy, it's not about appeasing global bureaucrats anymore. No, it's about protecting our people, our industries, and our future. And so you want to know who's been noticing all of this? The American youth. Because now, like we said earlier, what we're witnessing is a full blown generational shift. Young Americans who once blindly supported progressive policies are now rallying to the MAGA movement in record numbers. And why? Because they've lived through the chaos. They have seen what this country is like under Democrat progressive leadership. They've seen what the Democrats have done to their schools, to their cities, and to their job prospects. And you know what? Between you and me, I think young Americans are tired of being told that being an American is problematic or wrong in some way. No, they're ready to build something better, and they know that President Trump is the only one offering a real solution. So, ladies and gentlemen, really, when you stop and think about this entire situation, you realize that right now we are all living through a modern day political revolution. The progressive left is in absolute freefall. Their ideas have been rejected, their candidates are imploding, and their coalitions are fracturing. Meanwhile, the America First coalition is expanding. It's uniting working class Americans, young American patriots, veterans, and small business owners, people from every walk of life who are sick of being told to sit down and shut up by the progressives. People across the country are rising up and saying no to the globalist elites, no to the permanent progressive political class in Washington, D.C., and yes to restoring the values that made America great in the first place. And you know what's actually kind of funny about all of this is that the more the corrupt progressive political establishment attacks President Trump, the more we all rally behind him. Because here's the truth. We all know that these progressive attacks against President Trump aren't even really about him specifically as an individual. No, it's about silencing America First patriots like us. And so, you know what? Now that Americans nationwide have really realized just the type of game that these progressives are playing, we're not going back. We are done with the progressives. We are not asking for permission anymore. We are taking the country back and putting America first. And so, ladies and gentlemen, all of that is why right now, President Trump's approval ratings are absolutely soaring. The truth is, Americans nationwide, especially young Americans, are sick of the never-ending lies and hypocrisy coming from the progressive left. And you know what? Thank God for that. Now, folks, before we wrap up with today's video, I want to say real quick that I've actually gone ahead and made a community Facebook page where I'll be posting additional news and updates as it relates to all of this. So, hey, if you guys use Facebook, check out the pinned comment down below and give that page a follow. But folks, that is going to be a wrap for today's video, so please go down below and drop a comment. Let me know what you think about all of this. Please like the video while you're down there if you like the video. If you guys enjoy the daily news updates, please consider subscribing to the channel because it really does help a ton. Thank you all very much for tuning in today, and of course, as always, stay safe.